Assalamu alaikum students. Okay, so today we are going to solve paper 1, the MCQs paper, specimen paper for 5054 physics for year 2023. And in this paper you have total 1 hour and the total marks for this paper is 40. Total 40 MCQs is included in your paper and there is a few changes in your paper. First, the topic of space physics is included, and secondly the value of g now we need to take equals to 9.8 newton or 9.8 meter per second square acceleration for free fall motion. Previously we are using 10 meter per second square, but now we are using 9.8 meter per second square, and the total mark for this paper is equals to 40. Okay, so starting from the first question. First question is, a small cylinder is rolled along a ruler and completes two full turns as shown in diagram. What is the circumference of the cylinder? So in this question, basically, a small cylinder is rolled and there are total two full turns. Two full turns means this is the starting point. And after this, we completed two turns. It means that cylinder turns two times to complete rotation over there. So we need to calculate the circumference. So to calculate the circumference, first of all, we need to mark the initial starting and the final point on the ruler, because we know that the length of the ruler will be equal to the circumference of a circle. So the starting point is equals to 1.4. This is 1.4, the initial starting point, and the final point is equals to 10.2. So basically the change in length will be equal to final minus initial 10.2 minus initial 1.4. So that will be equal to 8.8 centimeters. So this is the total length which is covered by a cylinder during these two rotations on a ruler. And next, we need to calculate the circumference. So basically, we completed, or this cylinder completed two complete circumference. So the final calculation will be like this. That two circumference will be equal to 8.8. And now we divide this by 2, because we need to calculate a circumference of a circle. We know that there are two rotations, so it means circumference covered by the cylinder will be two times. So we need to divide it by 2. So we will get the length of one circumference, which will be equal to 4.4 centimeter. So that is answer A. So that is the first question. A very simple, I think. And the second question is, which diagram shows the vector addition of a 4 Newton force and a 3 Newton force? So basically now we need to show the addition of two vector, and when we are going to add two vectors, so you know the basic rule that we need to add by head to tail rule, or we call it tip to tail rule. So basically, we need to solve using this concept of head to tail or tip to tail. So we are having two vectors, 4 Newton and 3 Newton. So now we need to just check out the head to tail rule in all these options. So first of all, in option A, we are having head of first vector, that is 4 Newton. This is the head of first vector, and the tail of second vector, that is 3 Newton. So the addition will be fine. And for resultant vector, we know that we need to start from the tail of first vector to the head of the second vector. So this will be the resultant force or the resultant vector for these two forces which we are going to add. So option A is absolutely correct. In option B, the head to tail rule is perfect, but there is problem in the resultant force, because the direction of resultant force in reverse direction, that is from B to A. So there is a problem in resultant, and there is a problem in head to tail rule, because both vectors are combined using tail to tail, and same goes over here, both vectors are combined in head to head manner. So that's why option A is the right choice. Okay, question number 3. The diagram shows the speed time graph for an object moving with constant acceleration. So basically, object is moving with constant acceleration means that the change of the speed with respect to time is equal. Secondly, what is the distance traveled in first 4 seconds? So we know that the graph already consists 4 seconds on x-axis, and we need to calculate the distance. So basically, we are talking about the speed time graph, right? So first of all, check the parameters on the graph. Either you are talking about the speed time graph or distance time graph. So basically, we are talking about the speed time graph, and you know that in a speed time graph, we can calculate the distance by using area under the curve. So the concept behind it is the area under the curve. So area under the curve means we are having a right angle triangle. So right angle triangle means we need to use the formula for a triangle to find the area of triangle. So that will be equal to 1 over 2 length multiplied by height. So length will be equal to 4, height will be equal to 6. So we just need to divide by multiply 6 by 4. So 24 divided by 2. So we will get the answer. So C is the right answer. We are getting 12. So that's also very simple. You need the basics to calculate the distance or area under the curve. Question number 4, astronauts travels to Mars, which shall describe how his mass and weight compare with their sizes on their Earth. So basically there is a comparison between mass and mass and weight. We know that mass remains same everywhere. Only weight change according to the gravitational force. So according to that, option C is the right answer. Mass remains the same. Weight will be different according to the sizes. Okay, question number 5. Now we need to find the largest resultant force acting on it. So we just need to check out the forces acting on each object. In option A, first we find the resultant force. So 20 Newton is acting on left hand side, 10 plus 10, 20 Newton on left hand side and 30 on right hand side. Subtracting these two values, we will get 10 Newton force on right hand side. Direction, they are not asking about the direction, but I am just writing to get the whole concept of this resultant force. In option B, we are having 10 Newton on left hand side and 20 Newton on right hand side. So it means that you will get again 10 Newton force on right hand side. So in option C, 10 Newton is acting on right hand side and 30 Newton is acting on left hand side. Subtracting these values, you will get 20 Newton on left hand side. So that is option C. In option D, we are having only three forces acting on left hand side. So it means 15 Newton is acting on left hand side. So that's why the answer will be C, because we are getting the largest resultant force in option C on left hand side. So that is also very simple. Okay, in question number 6, a tractor pulls a trailer at a constant speed. So first of all, the most important thing you need to remember that there is a concept of constant speed. We are talking about a constant speed. Now next, they are talking about the tractor exerts a force of 1600 Newton. That is the force. What force is exerted by the trailer on the tractor? So basically, a tractor exerts force of 1600 Newton. So basically, we are talking about the tractor exerts a force. So this tractor exerts force on right hand side in this direction on this trailer. So basically they are asking what force is exerted by trailer on the tractor. So according to Newton third law, there will be reaction force acting on the tractor because tractor applies the action force and we are getting reaction force in opposite direction. So trailer exerts a same force in opposite direction. Because why we are saying that both forces are equal, because there is a concept of constant speed. So when speed is constant for any vehicle, for any object, so all other forces are equal and opposite to each other. So that's why 1600 Newton force acts in backward direction. So that is the answer. I hope you get the concept. Uh, in question number 7. Question number 7 is basically related to a terminal velocity. A skydiver is falling at terminal velocity, which will describe the acceleration of the skydiver and the velocity of the skydiver. So we need to find out, we need to know about the basic concept of the acceleration and velocity of the skydiver. So basically, again, the main concern in this question is they are talking about terminal velocity. So it means that skydiver is moving with a terminal velocity, falling with a terminal velocity. So it means that speed is constant. So when speed is constant, so you know that acceleration will be zero because there will be no change in speed, no change in velocity. So that means that acceleration will be zero. So very straightforward question. C is the right answer. Acceleration will be zero or velocity will be constant. Again, they are talking about a resultant force. Which car experiences a resultant force that is not zero? So our focus is on not zero. So we need to find out where resultant force is not zero. So we are having multiple option, a car moving along a straight horizontal road at constant speed. So basically they are again, remember they are talking about not zero, right? So we need to find out where the resultant force is not zero. So in option A, the resultant force will be equal to zero because we are moving with constant speed. We already done with two questions. In part B, a car moving around a bend at constant speed. So now again we are moving a constant speed, but there is a trick in this option, moving around a bend. So when we are moving in a curved bank or in a circular motion, so we know that our direction will be changed at every single point because direction of velocity will be always tangent to the circle. So that's why option B is the right answer. You may also check the other option, a car moving up hill at constant velocity, a car that is rest. So C and D are also not possible. So B is the right choice because in circular motion, our resultant force will always act towards the center. If we are talking about resultant force, the resultant force will always act towards the center. And there is a change in speed because direction of velocity or direction of speed will always changing. So due to that change, we also calculate the centripetal acceleration in a circular path. So that is because of change in direction. And next question is related to the stability. A car is designed to be stable. Where must the center of gravity of the car be? So you need to identify where we need to place the center of gravity for a car. Uh, so we know that the three factors, the height, the point or the position of center of mass and the distance or the area of the base. So these three are the factors which we need to keep in mind while solving these types of question. So in this question, we are having above the front wheel, above the rear wheel, as high in the car as possible, as low in the car as possible. So answer is very simple. You need to take or you need to place your center of mass as low as possible because we already discussed the factor in which height is important, and secondly the position of center of mass or center of gravity, position of center of mass, and the third one is uh, the base of an object or a vehicle. Okay, question number 10, basically yes, they are talking about the work done. So we are having a diagram. There is a block which is moving in upward direction with the help of a rope. Force is acting in the direction of rope in the direction of block. So we know that force is acting in this direction and block is also moving in the same direction. So before reading the question, we know that because I already got the concept of work done from this question. So before reading the question, we know that if we talk about the work done, so work done will be equal to force into displacement in the same direction. Now check out the question. The block has weight W and the rope is pulled with force F. The block moves distance PR, that is P and R, and is raised through height QR. what is the equation for work done on the block by the rope? So now you need to calculate the equation for the work done. And we already discussed the equation for the work done, that force is in the same direction, displacement is in the same direction, and the distance covered by the object or the block will be equal to the distance equal to PQ, because PQ is the same length, or the length of a path which is going to be covered by a block in the direction of force. So that's why we need to multiply the force by the length between P and R. So A is the right answer, a simple choice, right? Because distance or displacement will be in the same direction of the applied force. And next question is related to energy. And in this concept, they are talking about the non-renewable energy source which we are not going to use again and again the same source. So that is, they are talking about the renewable energy. In simple words, just like in daily life we use word recycle for different material, so same goes for the renewable, that we use that energy again and again. So that is the concept. So in this question, we need to find out which uses a non-renewable. So we need to identify the type of energy which use non-renewable energy resource, or sorry, source. So first of all, a geothermal heating system. So basically, geothermal heating system is a renewable because solar energy is always available, and that is renewable. And in option B, a nuclear power station. That is possible because once we start the reaction, so again we are not going to use the same material, because there is a concept of half-life and the radioactive decay in radioactivity. Solar panel, wind turbine, all using the renewable energy source, because it will also operate with the help of sun, and this will operate with the help of wind, and this will also operate with the help of the ground or the temperature of the core or earth. But this source actually going to be used some fission reaction, that is a nuclear reaction. So for that purpose we need, every time we need amount of source to start this fission reaction. So that's why option B is the right answer for question number 11. Question number 12, which expressions gives the efficiency of an AC generator? So we are talking about an AC generator, and in AC generator, we know that when we are going to calculate the efficiency, so efficiency means we need to first find out the useful output or the useful output, because we know that we are using machine for our purpose. So if we are not getting useful output, so that means that a specific machine or that generator is uh, useless for us. So it means that we need to find out the expression for efficiency like this, that useful output divided by the total input energy, right? So we need to find out the expression something like this. The main concept is we need to find out the useful output energy. Okay, so don't get confused in useful or total output. So there are multiple options. Let's check out electrical energy output. Okay, so we are using AC generator, and the purpose of AC generator is to convert mechanical energy into electrical energy. So option A is possible. Let's check out the other option. Electrical energy output, thermal energy input. Sorry, thermal energy output. So output not possible. And total energy output, electrical energy input. No, that is also not possible, because AC generator converts mechanical energy. If you remember the chapter of electromagnetism, so in that chapter we studied that AC generator basically works to convert mechanical energy into electrical energy. And the last one is thermal energy output. Again, we are not getting thermal output. So option A is the right answer. Question number 13 is related to the pressure topic, that is the barometer. So in this question, they are talking about which height is a measure of the atmospheric pressure. So we need to find out the height. Basically, you know the basic formula that rho gh is the formula to calculate the pressure in liquid. So according to that formula, we need to find out the height. There are multiple options to find out to consider the height for the formula rho gh, but we need the actual height, and the actual height is the distance between the surface of the liquid in the container or in the tub to the distance or distance to the upper meniscus of the water in the tube. So that is the actual height for the pressure in liquid to calculate the atmospheric pressure. So C is the right choice. That is a simple concept, that is theoretical concept related to barometer. Question number 14. Gas is in a sealed container of constant volume. The gas is heated and the pressure of the gas on the walls of container increase. So basically, the important points, we are having a constant volume and gas is heated and the pressure of the gas on the wall of the container increases, right? So we are having a constant volume and we are going to increase the temperature, pressure will also increase. How do the particles of the gas cause this increase in pressure? So basically, when we heat up the gas, so the molecules are getting the thermal energy, their kinetic energy will increase with the help of the thermal energy. So kinetic energy will increase, and in the result of the increase in kinetic energy, they are going to hit the wall of the container more frequently. So that means rate of collision will increase. Rate of collision will increase. So that is the simple concept. Let's check out in the option. They expand, they hit each other more frequently. Basically, remember one thing, they are talking about the pressure. And if you remember the basic formula for the pressure, so pressure will be equal to force upon area. Most of the people are going to take the first option, they expand, but they are not talking about volume. If they talk about the volume, then you take the first option, that is they expand. So they are not talking about the volume remains same. So in same volume, we are not going to expand the gas. So pressure means force over area. So we need to find out the thing which will be like force over area. So according to that, option C is the right choice. They hit the container walls more frequently, means the rate of collision will increase. So option C is the right answer. Question 15. A person cannot open a glass jar which has a metal lid after the lid is held under hot water for a few seconds. The jar opens easily. So basically, we are using a metal lid. Remember one thing. And then we are using hot water. And you know the concept that if we are going to apply hot water on a metal lid, the thermal energy is going to supply to the metal lid. And the same concept is discussed in the previous question. So what is the explanation for this? So the jar open easily because it is going to expand. Now there is no specific condition for volume, temperature and other thing. So now we may write the option with the reference of the expansion. So basically the metal lid expands. So that's why it is easy to open the metal lid. Other three options are not possible. Glass jar is made up of glass, so the glass is not going to expand just like the metal, and the metal lid contract, that is not possible because we are using hot water, not cold water. So straight simple choice, we the metal lid expands, right? Okay, question number 16. The more energetic particles escape from the surface of a liquid, which term describes this process? That is also very simple. We are talking about the surface of a liquid. So from the surface of a liquid, evaporation takes place. So it means option B is the right choice. And question number 17, the depth of the sea under a ship is determined by sending a pulse of sound with a frequency of 3000 hertz. So that is the frequency. And the sound reflects from the seabird. Basically, we are talking about the reflection of sound. a seabed and returns to a receiver on the bottom of the ship. The time between sending the pulse. Okay. The depth of the sea under the ship is 600 meter and the time measured is 0.80 second. What is the wavelength of this sound in the sea? So basically we are having a value of frequency, we are having a value of distance, we are having a value of the time, and we need to find out the wavelength. So first of all, let's see the basic formula related to the wavelength. So if we want to find out the wavelength, so V is equals to F lambda. So that is the simple formula. But before that, we already have value of frequency, but we are not having a value of V because we are going to calculate the lambda. But there is a concept of sound reflect. So that means we need to use the concept of echo because sound is going to be transmitted into downward direction and again it is going to move in the backward direction, reverse back to the board, to the ship. So first of all, we need to use the formula for echo, and the formula for echo will be equal to twice of distance divided by time. So distance is equals to 600 and time is equals to zero point 0.8 second. So that is 1200 divided by 0.8, that will be equal to 1500 meter per second. That is the speed. And now we use the formula of V equals to F lambda, and V over F will be equal to lambda. So V is equals to 1500 and frequency is already mentioned in the question, that is 3000. So 1500 divided by 3000 will be equal to 0.50. It means option C. So that is the answer, 0.50. And question number 18. In question 18, light is incident on a mirror and is reflected as shown. What is the angle of incidence and what is the angle of reflection? So we need to find out the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection. So basically there is a mirror, and on mirror, if we consider the angle, this is the normal, and this is the angle of incidence, and this is the angle of reflection. And the total angle which is mentioned in the question is equals to 80. This is angle 80. From this line to this line, the total angle is equals to 80. And if we consider this whole angle, so this whole angle will be equal to 180. This angle will be equal to 180. And we already saw that there is 80-degree angle mentioned on right hand side. So we subtract this 80 from total 180. So we will get the angle 100. So it means this whole angle will be equal to 100 degrees. And we know the concept for mirror, the angle of incidence will be equal to angle of reflection. So 100 is going to be divided equally between angle of incidence and angle of reflection. So it means option D will be the right choice, that angle of incidence will be equal to angle of reflection. Okay, question number 19 is related to the lens. An object is placed in front of lens. The ray diagram shows the path of two rays that start at the tip of the object. So they are talking about the two rays which are passing from the tip of an object. These are two rays. And which point P or Q is the principal focus and what type of image is formed. So we need to find out the principal focus first. But first of all, we know that there is a virtual image because these two rays are not going to meet on the other side. So it means option A and C is not possible because we are getting virtual image. So we need to find out the remaining concept. So we know that if we are getting the virtual image, so first we need to extend line in backward direction to combine. and to get the actual uh, image of an object. So if we extend this line, so this there will be a straight line. So if we extend that line straight backward in a straight backward direction, so that will be something like that. Okay, so if we extend this line, so that will be equal to point P like this. So that is going to be passed through the point P. If we just extend a straight line, this ray diagram, the first ray which is diverging from the lens, so that is the straight line in the backward direction, and we are getting, and we know that the second line is passing through the center, so it will remain in the same position. So we are getting image or the intersection point over here. So this is the position of image because now two lines are intersecting each other, two ray diagram are intersecting each other. So this is the image of an object, and we know that when light passes through the lens and on the other side it will always pass through the principal focus. But we know that this is a diverging lens and there will be a virtual image. So we extend line in backward direction and we are getting image on point P. So it means that principal focus on point P and type of image virtual, right? So that is the right option B. Question number 20, a sound wave travels through air. The lines in the diagram show the position of particle of air at one particular time, which distance is the wavelength of the wave. So you know the distance that crust to crust or trough to trough, the consecutive distance between two crust or two trough is equal to the wavelength. So in these diagrams which are related to the direction in compression and rarefaction, so we can easily find out with the reference of the distance between these two lines. So we need to find out the equal distribution. So if we check between A, so there is unequal distribution. So it means we are not getting the wavelength of the wave. And in option B, we are getting equal distance between two lines and there is equal distribution. So that is B is the right answer. And on option C, we again see that there is a lot of compression on left hand side and rarefaction on right hand side. So again, there is unequal distance, so wavelength cannot be determined. And if we check out the option D, again, there is a huge rarefaction on left hand side and rarefaction on right hand side, and there is again some unequal distribution because if we check out this part and this part, so there is some unequal distribution according to that. So we can easily find out the wavelength with the reference of equal distribution between crust and trough. So option B is the right choice. Question number 21 and question 21 says that the diagram shows an electromagnet. How can the strength of the magnetic force around the electromagnet be increased? So we need to increase the magnetic field around electromagnet. So to increase the strength around electromagnet, let's check out the factor, remove the metal core and decrease. Basically, there is a variable resistor connected in the path because current flows from the positive direction. So it moves through the variable resistor and ammeter is on right hand side. So remove the metal core and decrease the current in the coil. So that will not increase the magnetic field because we know that if we increase the value of current, so that will also increase the magnetic field. Remove the metal core and keep the current in the circuit constant. If we remove the metal core, so there will be no electromagnet because we know that this metal core is going to be magnetized with the help of electricity. So option A and B are not possible. Option C, reverse the DC and decrease the current. So reverse the DC is the right choice, but decreasing the current is not a good choice because if we reverse the direction, so current will start moving from this direction that is mentioned in option C or D. So there is no variable resistor and a high value of electric current will pass through the coil that will increase the strength of magnetic field. So that's why option D is the right answer. Reverse the DC and increase the current. So we need to flow the value of current from right hand side. That is the right option and increase the current to increase the strength of magnetic field. So that is the right choice for question number 21. 22, what material can a temporary magnet be made from? So we need to check out the temporary magnet material. So that is very simple. We know that soft iron is the type of temporary magnet we use in our circuits. Okay, question number 23 is related to the distribution of charge. And for distribution of charge, we know that same charges will repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. So the diagram shows an uncharged ball covered with a metallic paint. So there is a metallic paint. So we know that when we are having some metallic word over there, so it means we are talking about conductor. And ball is suspended from an insulating thread. It is placed near a positively charged rod. So charge rod is positively charged. So which diagram shows the charge distribution on the ball? So we need to find out the right distribution. We know that the ball is uncharged. So ball is uncharged means there are equal number of positive and negative charges on the ball. And ball is going to attract towards positive rod. It means negative charges are going to shift on the right hand side towards the positive charge. And positive charge are going to be shift on left hand side away from the positive because positive repel. So positive will be on the left hand side and negative will be on right hand side. And again, you just need to check out the equal number of charges also because in most questions they test the skill that you know the concept of equal number of charges or not. So option D is the right choice. Question number 24. A charge of 45 coulomb, that is the value of Q, flows through an electric appliance in 3 minutes. That is the time in minutes. So that is important. What is the average current in the appliance? So you just need to calculate the value of electric current. I is equals to Q over T. But you need to make sure that value of time will be converted into seconds. So 45 divided by 3 into 60. So you will get the answer which will be equal to 0.25 amperes, the unit of electric current. That is option A. In question 25, a wire of length 0.5 meter and cross-sectional area of 1 exponent minus 6 meters square has a resistance of 0.75 resistance. So now we are having a cross-sectional area that is A and the length which is equals to 0.5 meter and resistance is equals to 0.75 ohms. Another wire of the same material has a length of 2 meter. Now we are having a same material wire. So we are having same material wire which is equal to 2 meter in length and cross-sectional area of 0.5 exponent minus 6. So that is the new length and the new area. So this will be L1 and A1. So what is the resistance of the longer wire? Now we need to calculate the new resistance of the longer wire. So we know that the concept that R is equals to rho L upon A. That is the formula to calculate the resistance according to the factor of length or area. So we know that this is the factor of resistivity that remains constant for both wire because we are using a same material. So we can easily calculate by comparing these equations. So the comparison will be like this. If we shift all the values, so A will be multiplied over here and L will be divided over here. So RA will be equal to the resistivity. So that is for 1 and same goes for 2. So we need to compare both because we know that both wires are made up of same material. So R2 A2 over L2 will be equal to R1 A1 over L1, and we are basically calculating the value of the resistance of second wire, that is R2. So for R2 we know that R2 will be equal to R1 A1, and this L2 will be multiplied on right hand side and A2 will be divided on right hand side. So these are the factors which we need to multiply and divide. So by multiplying and divide these concepts, we will get the accurate answer. And if we write down the values, so R1 is 0.75, multiply the cross-sectional area, multiply by the 2, the length of second wire divided by the factor A2, 0.5, and length will be equal to 0.5. So multiply and divide all these factors, you will get the answer equal to 6 ohms. So it means D is the right option, right? So that is the complete calculation for part question number 25. And question number 26, which electrical symbol represents a fuse? So we just need to identify the symbol of a fuse, and the symbol of a fuse will be a simple like a resistor, but there is a straight line passing between the rectangles. So B is the right choice. That is the symbol of a fuse, right? Okay, students, after doing question number 26, let's move towards question number 27. And in question number 27, there is a circuit diagram in which it is mentioned that there are three identical resistors. It means the value of resistance is same for each resistance. It means there are three resistance, so three of them are identical. Their value of resistance is same for each resistor. And we observe that there are two voltmeter. One is connected, which is mentioned as Q, and the first one is mentioned at P, connected in parallel with both resistor and a single resistor. So we know that voltmeter always connect in parallel combination. So most important thing that three of resistors are connected in series. So the first thing we need to know about that, in series combination, the value of electric current remains the same, whereas the value of the voltage divides according to the value of resistance. So the potential difference across each resistor will be depending upon the value of resistance. So basically in this question, three of them are identical resistance. It means that voltage will divide equally among all of them three resistor. And they mentioned that voltmeter Q reads 8 volts. So it means basically the voltage between these two resistors is equals to 8 volt. It means both shares equal voltage because value of resistance are equal for three of them resistors. So it means 4 volt and 4 volt for each resistor. 4 and 4. So 4 volt is going to be divide equally between these two resistors because the value of resistance is same for each resistor. And we know that three of them are identical. So it means that 4 volt is also gained by this first resistor. So they are talking about what is the reading on voltmeter P. So that is simple because resistors are identical. So voltage will also remain same. And we already know that 8 volt divides between equally divides between two resistor which is connected with voltmeter Q. And what is the EMF of battery? So basically, the EMF of the battery is the sum of all voltage that will be equal to 12 volt, and that 12 volt is going to divide equally among all resistors because all of them are identical. So it means that your answer will be reading on P4 and EMF of battery 12. So B is the right answer. Okay, question number 28 is related to practical electricity. Okay, let's check out what are the values mentioned in the question. The EMF of the battery in a radio is 3 volt. So basically there is a voltage or a potential difference. The resistance of the circuit in the radio is 6 ohm. So this is the value of resistance. And the radio is switched on. How much energy is transferred from the battery in 30 minutes? So basically we need to calculate the amount of energy that is going to be consumed by the battery in 30 minutes. Okay, so we know the formula E is equals to VIT. If we want to calculate the energy, that will be equal to VIT. And we know that the voltage is equals to 3, current is unknown, time is mentioned, and resistance is given. So that's not a big deal to calculate the value of electric current. We may just simply calculate the value of electric current by using a different formula. First of all, let's convert the value of time period. So time is equals to 30 minutes. It means if we convert into seconds, so we need to multiply 30 by 60. So time will be equal to 1800 seconds. Now let's find out the value of electric current. So value of electric current will be equal to, by using the Ohm's law, V is equals to IR or I is equals to V over R. So the value of voltage is 3, value of resistance is 6. So the value of electric current will be equal to 0.5 ampere. So now we are having a value of voltage, electric current, and time. Just substitute the values in this equation of energy. So energy will be equal to 3, that is potential difference, 0.5 ampere, the value of electric current, and 1800 seconds, the time. So energy will be equal to 2700 joules. It means option C is the right one. Okay, that is the simple one. Now let's move toward question number 29. In question 29, basically this is a theoretical question. What is the unit for energy used by an electrical appliance? So we know that when we are working with electrical appliances, so you already studied that we normally convert the value joules into kilowatt hour. Normally we calculate the formula of using the cost that units consumed by or the electrical power consumed by any electrical appliance. So you know the concept, we need to convert that joules into kilowatt hour because in our daily life we are dealing with time and the watt, that is the power, and kilowatt is the unit of power that we use in our daily life in electrical appliances. So that means the SI unit for the energy used by electrical appliance will be equal to kilowatt hour. Okay, moving towards question number 30. Okay, so basically there is a magnet. The setup is like this, like a free oscillating system. There is a magnet and there is a spring connected with a magnet, and this magnet can easily oscillate inward or outward from this coil of wire which is connected uh, over here, and we as shown as the lower end of the magnet oscillate between P and R. So basically they are talking about P and R. A varying EMF is induced across the coil. So you know the concept when magnet moves through the coil. So due to change in magnetic flux, due to change in magnetic lines through the coil, an EMF will induce. So they are talking about, the question is when this EMF is 0 volt. So most important thing, they are talking about 0 volt. Where could the lower end of the magnet be? So it means that if we connect a voltmeter over here to calculate or to measure the induced voltage from the coil, so they are talking about if EMF is equals to 0, so what is the lower position of the magnet, or where will be the lower end of the magnet at which point? So question is at R only, at Q only, at P or at R, or at P or at Q. So basically they are talking about points between P and R. So basically, P and R are the extreme points, right? Because in question they already mention specifically between points P and R. So P and R, point R are extreme points in our case. So it means that magnet will oscillate only between P and R. So Q is the mean position. So basically at mean position, body or the magnet is always in a vibration form. So when magnet is moving, so EMF is induced. And P and R are the extreme point because when magnet reach at point P, it changes its direction, because let's suppose if magnet is moving in upward direction, so when it reach point P, so it change its direction towards, or it change the direction of the magnet will be in opposite direction. So at P point and at R point for a short time interval, magnet will be in a rest state. So in rest state, when magnet is not moving, magnet is not oscillating. So at that specific point, the EMF will be equal to 0, because these are extreme point. And when we reach point P, so we know that at after reaching point P, we reverse the direction, or the direction of magnet will change towards downward. So that's why point at point P and point R, these are the extreme points, and at these extreme points, a magnet will become in rest state for very short time. So that's why at P or at R, at both positions, the EMF will be equal to 0, because these are our extreme points. Moving towards question number 31. So in question number 31, which transformer arrangement produces an output EMF that is larger than the input potential difference? So basically, we need to find out the greater number of, or the greater value of output EMF. Our main concern is to calculate the greater value of outer EMF that is larger than the input potential difference. So you know the concept that it depends upon the number of turns. So most important thing when we are working with transformer, we only deal in AC. We are not working with DC when using transformer, because we need to change the direction of electric current. So that will generate, or that will change the magnetic field in the neighboring coil. So EMF will induce. So we are not dealing with DC. So option A and C is not possible. So the main purpose, main theme of transformer, you need to work with AC. So first of all, you need to check AC and DC, then check out the number of turns. So our second step is to check number of turns. So number of turns means if you are getting high output value, so it means you need to increase the number of turns in output. So that means B is the right choice, because in option B, the number of turns in secondary coil is greater than the primary coil. So we are getting a greater EMF in option B as compared to option D, because AC supply is connected in option B and D, but number of turns are greater in option B in output as compared to option D. Okay, question number 32. Why is a relay used in a switching circuit? So basically, we use relay. That is a simple concept related to relay we already studied in the theoretical concept. So there are multiple options to switch on a small current using a small current, So that is not possible to switch on a small current using a large current, to switch on large current using a small current. So that is the purpose of relay, because we know that there is a concept of electromagnetism involved there. So we use a small current to switch on a large current value. So that is the purpose of relay. So that relates with the basic concept of relay which we are using in our circuit. Okay, so question number 33 is related to some direction of deflected beam. A horizontal beam of electron passes between two poles of a magnet in a vacuum, and in which direction the beam deflect. Okay, so basically this concept is related to left hand rule, because we know there is a magnetic field which is moving in vertically downward position, and beam of electron is on x-axis. So we know that three of these quantities are mutually perpendicular to each other. So if we consider y-axis, so on y-axis we are having our magnetic field, and on x-axis we are having a beam of electron, and we need to find the deflection. So it means the direction will be on z-axis, because three of them are mutually perpendicular. So now we need to use a left hand rule over here, and according to left hand rule, you know the basic thing, that the first finger represents, basically the first finger represents you the direction of magnetic field, and the second finger represents you the direction of electric current, and thumb represents you the direction of motion or the deflection. So now we need to use a left hand rule in a way like this. First of all, you need to place your fingers according to the direction of magnetic field. So you need to place your first finger in downward direction of left hand rule like this. So your first finger will be in downward direction. That represents you the direction of magnetic field. Now, second, you need to place uh, the direction of in the direction of electric current, that is the second finger. So it means that your second finger will be in the direction of electric current. So we know that there is a beam of electron. So beam of electron means there is a negative side. This is negative side and this will be positive side. So you know the concept that conventional current will always flow from positive to negative side, right? So that is a simple concept. And if you get difficult in arranging your three fingers or left hand rule according to the direction of the diagram, so you may rotate your paper like this. That if we consider, you just, if your paper is in portrait form, you rotate your paper in landscape form, right? Let's suppose if we rotate this paper like this. Okay, so if we consider your paper like this, okay, so that will be more easy. So now you need to place your right finger, or sorry, first finger in the direction of magnetic field. So now you just need to place your first finger of left hand towards the right hand side. So that is the direction of magnetic field. All quantities are mentioned. And secondly, you need to place your finger in the direction of electric current. So we know that current will always move uh, from positive to negative, right? So you consider the direction of conventional current. So your second finger will be in this direction. And when you open up your thumb, so your thumb will be in upward direction. Upward direction means out of the page, right? Your thumb will be in upward direction, I am drawing dotted line because that is on z-axis. This is z-axis, the direction of motion. So it means that is coming out of the paper, out of the page, right? So that is the concept, how to calculate the direction or to how to find out the direction of the deflection. So if you find difficulty in arranging the fingers, so you may just rotate your paper in landscape and you will get the exact direction that is out of the page, because the direction of thumb in upward, upward means on z axis, because we are not able to draw 3D diagram on paper exactly. So that's why you rotate your paper to get the exact direction. So that is also simple. If you find difficult in solving the question, let me know in the comment. So I will arrange the value. I will just record a short video to help you to find out the direction of motion of the electron or the beam of electron, right? Which is mentioned in the question. So that is the simple concept. You may check the marking scheme also. I will also attach the marking scheme. So you may check also by the marking scheme. Okay, question number 34. How many neutrons are in one neutral atom of krypton isotope 8436 krypton? So basically, you know the concept. This 36 represents the number of proton and this represents the number of nucleons. Nucleons is the sum of neutron and proton. So you need to find out the number of neutron. So we just minus or just subtract the number of proton from number of nucleons. So you will get only number of neutrons. So that will be equal to simply 48. That is option B, right? So that is a simple concept. Okay, question number 35. So in question number 35, basically there is a carbon, and carbon basically represents a nuclide of the atom carbon, and this represents a nuclide of the element nitrogen. So we are having carbon and nitrogen. How is a neutral atom of nitrogen to a neutral atom of carbon? Okay, so basically you need to differentiate that how a neutral atom of nitrogen is different from carbon. So we need to just find out the difference. What will be the difference? So if we find out the difference, so let's suppose if we talk about the nitrogen. So basically nitrogen is 714 and in carbon 614. So basically number of nucleons are equal, right? So number of nucleons are equal means if we subtract 14 minus 7, so you will get 7. And in second situation, if we minus 6 from 14, so you will get answer 8. So it means that basically there are 6 protons in carbon and 7 protons in nitrogen. And in options, we are different options related to electron and proton and neutron. So we need to also check the number of electrons. So number of electrons means we know that the number of electrons and protons are same in each element. So there are 7 protons. So it means there will be 7 electron. And there are 6 protons. It means there will be 6 electron. So that is a simple working. And according to that, we can easily find out the answer now. So just read the question. The nitrogen atom has 1 electron fewer than the carbon atom. So if we compare the number of electron, so basically they are talking about number of electron is less than the carbon atom. We know that the nitrogen has one more electron as compared to carbon. Option A is not possible, has one neutron more than, so we are not comparing the number of neutron, and There is also a difference of number of neutron. So basically, if we check out option D, the nitrogen has one proton more than the carbon atom. So that is simply right, that neutron has one more proton than the carbon. Because when we are talking about the structure, so we talk about number of proton and neutron. Then we can easily find out the number of electron. We are not calculating directly number of electron. First, we find number of proton. Then we find number of electrons as compared to the number of protons which are already mentioned in the atom. So you need to answer in the form of number of proton, not with the reference of number of electron. So that's why uh, the nitrogen has one proton more than the carbon atom, because we know that number of protons are different, and in nitrogen we are having one proton greater as compared to the carbon, because number of nucleons are same, so it means number of neutrons are same, number of protons are different. So D is the right choice. Question 36, radioactive isotopes emit three types of radiation, which list gives the type of radiation in order of their ionizing effect from the greatest to least. So we need to compare their ionizing effect from greatest to least. So we know that the ionizing power of alpha is the greatest and gamma is the least. So alpha, beta, gamma. So that is very simple. Option A is the answer, alpha, beta, and gamma. Because the ionizing power of alpha is greater among all, and gamma has the least ionizing power because of the mass of alpha is greatest among all. Which statement about the half-life of a radioactive isotope is correct? We know the concept of half-life. So basically, they are just talking about the definition of half-life. So half-life is the half time it takes for the mass of the isotope to decrease to zero. So that is not possible, because we know the concept in which the mass is going to be decreased to its half. So decrease to zero is not the right choice. Half-life is the time taken for the nucleon number, right? So basically, we are not talking about the nucleon number. Half-life is the time taken for the number of nuclei. So we talk about the total number of nuclei, not only number of nucleon, right? So basically, we are talking about the nucleus. We decay the mass, or we just reduce the mass to the half of number of nuclei, or according to the nucleus. So D is the right statement. And question number 38 is from the space physics, which is newly included. Light from the sun travels to Earth at a speed of, this is the speed of the light which is traveling from the sun. We know that will be equal to speed of light. And this time completes in 500 seconds. That is the time to travel. What is the average orbital speed of the Earth in its orbit around the sun? So we need to calculate the average orbital speed. So you need to uh, memorize the formula for the orbital speed. So for orbital speed, we first need to find out the distance, that what is the distance between the sun and the earth. So for distance, we know the basic concept, that is v multiplied by t. This velocity is different and this is orbital velocity, that is different. So we use the formula of distance, that is 3 exponent 8 multiplied by time, which is equals to 500 seconds. So you will get the value of distance, that will be equal to 1.5 exponent 11 meters. And now orbital speed, the formula for orbital speed will be equal to 2 pi r over t. So 2 pi is constant and the value of r is equals to the value of s. So that will be equal to 1.5 exponent 11 divided by the total time, right? So basically, uh, these two values are just to calculate the distance, right? And what is the average orbital speed? Orbital speed means we just complete the orbit around the sun. And we know that the Earth takes 365 days to complete the orbit. So the value of capital T is the time to complete one orbit or one complete revolution around the sun. So that will take 365 days. So 365 days multiplied by 24 hours multiplied by minutes into second, that will be equal to 3600. right? Because in 365 days, in one day we are having 24 hours, and in 24 hours we are having 3600 seconds. So combining, calculating all these value, you will get the answer, 29885.7 meter per second. And we need to convert into scientific notation. So that will be equal to round figure 3000, sorry, 30,000. So this is the round off value, and we need to convert into two significant figures in scientific form. So that will be equal to this option C. 3 and 4 zeros in the exponent. 3 into 10 to the power 4 meter per second is the right choice. Okay, in the sun, energy is transferred from an energy store. Okay, they are talking about the sun. Which energy is being released, and what is the name of reaction that releases this energy inside the sun? So first of all, we know the reaction, that the reaction which take place at the sun is known as a fusion reaction. The main concept, the basic concept. We already studied in the concept of a star. You may check out my playlist of space physics compiling from of 6 videos. So you may check out the life cycle of a star. You will get the idea how the energy is going to be released from the sun. So basically, there is a fusion reaction which is going to be happen on the sun. That is a simple concept. So now you have only one choice left because we know the reaction. So option D is the right option because energy which is released is nuclear energy. Okay, last question is related to the red shift and blue shift. The Big Bang Theory, the light emitted from a galaxy is red shifted. Red shift is when a galaxy is moving away from your planet or some other galaxy. So basically, galaxy is moving away from Earth, because we know the concept of redshift. We already studied in space physics. When we are moving away from the planet, so galaxy is going to be redshifted. How does the frequency of the light when detected on Earth compare with its frequency when emitted, and what is the direction is the galaxy moving? So we already finalized the direction, that is away. So we have two choices, either A, either C. B and D is not possible because when we are moving towards Earth, so that is blue shifted. We are moving away, so that is red shifted. And now we just need to find out the frequency. So we know that when we are moving away, so you remember the concept of Doppler effect. Let's suppose if there is a source and source is moving towards right hand side. So waves are like this around that source. So that is completely explained in my videos. You may check out the playlist of space physics. You will find all this stuff there. So now object is moving towards right hand side. So right hand side means on left hand side, a wavelength is going to be increase, right? So galaxy is moving away. So let's suppose this is galaxy, which is moving away from the Earth. So it means we are getting a greater wavelength. And when wavelength is increased, so frequency will decrease. Because if we use the formula V equals to F lambda, so basically F is inversely proportional to lambda. So if wavelength is increasing is redshift, in redshift wavelength is going to be increased. So it means frequency is going to be decreased. So it means option A is the right choice. That frequency of emission is going to be less when galaxy is moving away from the Earth. So that is the end of the specimen paper for 5054. In my next video, I will also solve the specimen paper for IGCSE 0625, that is P2 for IGCSE, and you will find all my lectures regarding all these topics, the newly included syllabus, the newly included topics on my playlist. You may check out the playlist. If you find anything difficult or want to learn anything, you may mention right in my comment section. I will definitely answer your question. Thank you.